Civil unrest, riots, and chaos are coming to your doorstep. And we know this specifically because historically this happens over and over again. Whenever there is a collapse in the financial system, that undoubtedly leads to chaos in the streets. And of course, the chaos will be coming to you directly. The store shelves will empty after a maximum of 3 days, and what's going to happen at that point? That's something I covered many times before. This video here will not cover the financial aspect of preparation because that's something I get into in my book, that's something I get into in my other videos. But I wanted to cover the physical aspects of preparation so that you can protect yourself and your family. I do not get into every single thing you can do to protect yourself in this video. I also did not put them in any particular order. This is just some things that you can use, perhaps you've overlooked. So let's get into that right now. Number one is protection. I'm talking here about, and not just these things, but firearms, ammunition, and most importantly, being trained on how to use this protection devices. And that is undoubtedly a most obvious thing. Let's move on very quickly. A secure home. These are some of the things I'd like to discuss. Having a good alarm system, having good locks that actually fully function on your doors, and having lights that are on when you're home and when you're not home. These things are very small, of course, but they may deter some criminals. So having that, it's a multi-layer approach. And all of these, having all the things I'm going to discuss today, is part of a multi-layered approach, giving you a much more sound environment than your neighbors and your whole community here. So let's go on. Having backups is obviously very essential. That's batteries, food, and water, and more things, of course, too. But having those backups so you may not need to leave your house for days. You will have everything you need inside your house. And especially when the store shelves get empty, which they always do in some sort of a hyperinflation scenario or even a natural disaster, you have these things in your home all ready. And of course, solar power, which I didn't mention, if it's within your budget, is very, very good to have. Cameras. I like the idea of having cameras as another added layer of protection because you can undoubtedly see before you get into your house. If it's connected to a Wi-Fi, you can see before you even enter the home if somebody's already there. And of course, if you have the family at home, you want to keep watch, you have that option as well. And it's important to have wired cameras where you can as well. And of course, these are undoubtedly small things because it may not deter some criminals. However, it is another layer of protection. And I do recommend that if you can afford this type of thing. And they're actually very affordable right now. Having a dog or another type of animal is actually very beneficial to have around your house because the dogs have a particular sense that we just don't have. So even if they can't really do much, they may sense something that you do not, and they may warn you quick enough so that you can use number one and get that very quickly. You want to have good neighbors. You want to be friends with your neighbors and people that's in your community, of course, because it's just one more line of defense. But perhaps they saw something that you didn't. Perhaps they saw someone scouting your property, or you don't want your neighbors to be your enemies as well, because if they know that you have the protection devices and all these other things, they may be more likely to enter your home in this time of collapse. So I'd suggest being friends with them, but at the same time, do not discuss the things that you have to protect yourself in your home. I would leave that out because you never know who they could be telling, even if they are close to you. You want a getaway plan, and you don't want just one getaway plan. I would suggest not just the A, but the B and a plan C. You need to know where you're going to go and have it ready for you. One of the things I tell in my consultations is Have another house to live in if you can afford it. Even if it's a shack somewhere that's barely livable, some cabin somewhere on the outskirts of town, if you can afford that, do that, because it would be so critical, and of course it would hold value for you. So it's not really a bad investment. Even if the price wouldn't go up, at least it would be better than keeping it in the financial system, which is undoubtedly going to collapse. So I recommend A, B, and C in your plans. Education. This is not something to overlook. You want to know about your surroundings. You also want to know about historical information. What is in your area? Are there wells? Are there springs? Is there any food that you can forage? Are there police stations nearby? Are there army locations nearby? All the things that you need to know to piece things together. How you think that the collapse will take place. Will there be a police state? How to arrange accordingly, and where you think this will go. That's up to you to decide. However, knowing this in advance is going to help you to avoid a catastrophe. Collapse is certain. Be prepared. And I would suggest that you guys go over to Amazon, take a look at my book. You can flip through it on there if you'd like it. That's the financial side of preparation, which obviously should not be overlooked as well. I'm providing you with this information with the hopes that you will take it and share it with your friends and family. We need to prepare. We need to do everything to prepare. Those holding just gold and silver, thinking that they're going to be okay, may be in trouble. You need a multi-level approach to this preparation, because in a collapse scenario, there's one thing that's certain, and that is nothing is certain. And that's what I want to discuss today, because everyone has their own ideas of what it means to prepare, and I'd like to cover the whole waterfront. I do focus on the financial side. However, there is much more to that, because things like gold and silver bullion are not enough to protect you and your family. Get prepared, get the knowledge, and do what it takes to protect your family.